Oop. Hello, my beauties. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Yogini Viv here, and this is probably going to be a short video. I might look sweaty because I was out for a walk. I was actually thinking of, I'd wanted to film while I was walking, but I'd already scheduled the video. So I had to come back home and change out of something that looked really boring. And this kind of still looks boring, but I am going to share today about how I lost weight because someone had asked me in a recent live. Okay. So I'm going to greet folks as they come in. I'm going to wait also. And I have a story to tell to start off, but let's say hi if you're just joining. So this is my Sunday live. It's Yogini Viv here. If you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. And just as I wait for folks to come in, I am doing tonight, Sunday, right, a full moon gathering online. And I'm calling it the Full Moon Circle. I know, shocking. And it's just to really spend time in a spiritual space together with other women from around the world. And so far, I think I have 7 or 8 women registered. And so the link, it's at 7 o'clock tonight, I think is what I had said. I think it's at 7. Hang on, let me check real quick. Let me check on myself here. 7 o'clock, 7 to 8, probably till 8:15. So do join, do check it out. Do come and check it out. The things I'm going to be doing, some root chakra work, some healing activation, allowing energy from spirit about your, why you're here, your mission, your highest talents, that kind of thing related to abundance. That's what we're going to do. So do check it out. I think I set it at like $7.99, $8, and it's absolutely will be worth it. I am probably going to shower before then and get more goddessy. But this video is, so first my story that I have to share. So say hi if you're here. Welcome to my Sunday live. I'm trying to be more consistent. And so I was like, I wanted to kind of get ready. I spent a lot of this morning in spiritual practice, meditation. I did yoga, and just preparing myself for tonight. But I was like, let me go live because I was asked, how did I lose weight? One way was walking, which, like I said, I just came back from, if you're just joining. But first I want to tell a story. So I was in my relatively small town. Okay. It's so cute. I'm going to cut the story short, but it was a funny story. Spirit basically told me to go talk to somebody in a cafe. I was there with a friend from Brazil, and she got up to go to the bathroom. And then literally this person was like complaining because the garbage was too full in the cafe. And so I'm like, I should just go, like, I'm supposed to go talk to her. So I had to throw something out. So I was like, okay, I'm going to throw this stuff out. And then I was like, you should just stick your foot in the garbage. Like, that'll smush it down because it was overflowing. Okay. And the poor girl was like, I need gloves because, yeah, it was. And I was like, yeah, but you can't use your foot because you're not wearing socks. So you're going to get like coffee on your ankles. Really gross. And she sort of stops and looks and she goes, do you teach yoga? And I'm like, yeah, I teach yoga, but not here. I'm like, you don't make any money teaching yoga in this town, but I teach online. And she looks and she kind of turns her head, and I'm like, and she says, are you on YouTube? And I said, yes, I am. You see where the story is going. I was like, yeah. Again, really small town, right? Cafe. And she's like, did you do something on the Divine Feminine? I'm like, yes, that was me. And I'm like, wait, because I'm like, no, it's probably somebody else because this is unlikely to happen. And she's like, sacral chakra, Divine Feminine. I'm like, that was me. She's like, oh my God, I thought I recognized you. Anyway, I felt like a movie star. I was so elated. And she also shared, she said, you really helped me. I was so excited. I honestly didn't hear everything she said, but she said something like, that video really got me through some stuff like last year. I'm pretty sure she said last year. Um, and I was just like, oh, I just, my heart was warmed because hey, if you're just joining, when you make these videos, you don't really get to see the folks on the other side and you're not sure. Some people watch for 2 seconds. Like that is YouTube. Like people click on a video. We all do that. And you're like, oh, or you get distracted. So when, um, for her to say that, it just really moved me and made me feel like, my work is touching people. It's YouTube. So, I mean, I know it goes all over the world, obviously, but it's weird when somebody in your small area recognizes you. So, anyway, that's my story. I was so excited. I was so elated. Um, yeah. So, I am going to share. Do you guys want to hear about how I did lose weight? I don't know if the person who was like, that would make a good video. So I'm going to be really honest with you. All right. And the reason I say that, so let me start on that topic. The reason I say I'm going to be really honest with you, I do think it's different if you are someone who's been overweight like a long time or you're naturally heavy. Okay. I just want to give that caveat because most of my life I've been fairly slim and like long boned, relatively long boned and fairly slim. So I think the advice I'm going to give, it's basically two things I did. Um, I dropped from 162 or 163, right around there, which is, I've never weighed that much. That was a lot for me. I'm about 5'7", a little shorter than 5'7". And so I think I got up to 163, and this was post-COVID. So I just had my weight again very recently, and I was 142. So like it's about 21, 22 pounds. Okay. On someone who has a slim frame. So I hope this helps someone. Again, you might not be watching right in the present moment. It's probably going to go out, folks who are Googling. But so how I lost weight, and very easily, pretty easily. Okay. So I see some folks have left because they're like, either she's not going to be able to help me or they're like, oh, I'm a big boned girl, so Viv, I don't know if your advice will work. I don't know. I know this is a strange color. I want to share what I'm drinking is from my local one of the local farms in my area where I got like a CSA, like I got a vegetable box. They had melons and it was like this yellow melon, you guys. It looked like watermelon, but it was yellow. And so I've been doing this a lot. I recommend it for the summer, is taking fruit, and it's not a juice, but I add water and I add ice. And so it's really refreshing. It's really light and it's not too sweet at all. So this is cucumber, melon. I removed some of the seeds because they did have seeds. So this yellow melon, but you can use any sort of melon. Honeydew would be delicious. A little bit of cucumber, half a cucumber, and a little bit of lime juice with ice and water. And then I do let it kind of, it's not like ice cold. Okay. So let's get back to losing weight gradually and easily. And I think that's important. I was not per se on a diet. Okay. We all know diets fail because that means you're going to start and then you're like, oh, I'm off my diet. Yeah, I'm done. That won't work. So what I did, one thing I did that they don't recommend, but I disagree, is I cut out basically a food group. Okay. Hey, if you're just joining. So I'm talking about how I did lose weight post-COVID weight. And yeah, I know it's now 224, but I think the weight, it was 2021, 2022. I still had the same weight. And I want to say I gained 30 pounds. So I don't know if I'm getting the numbers right, but it was 30 pounds. And the doctor just calmed me down and said, most Americans gain 20 pounds. That was the average. So obviously there were people less and people more. So she's like, it's not unusual coming out of COVID. So a couple of things that I did. I was already like 90% vegetarian, like plant-based, What I did cut out, the whole food group that I cut out dairy. So I am not a big milk drinker. I don't recommend it, especially for people of color. Often we don't um, digest it well. Not all, but many of us don't. Um, and I didn't particularly ever like milk. So I cut out cheese. Cheese, goddesses, is like really concentrated fat. Yes, it has protein, but it's so high in fat. And also the quality of the food in the United States. This has been something I've been just seeing more folks comment on when they move abroad. Okay. Um, what we give to our cows is not making a natural cheese. So let's just let's just start there. It's when you think of cheese and you think, it's natural, it's got protein, it's got good fats. Again, what the cows are eating, what they're injected with. So I did cut out cheese. Okay. I think right when you do that, that's a huge amount of calories right there. So again, I wasn't drinking milk in the first place, but it was cheese. So that was the first thing I did. I did cut out that food group. Um, I also, in terms of diet, when I had gained weight during COVID, hey, if you're just joining, I'm just sharing briefly how I lost weight, COVID weight that I gained during all of that lockdown and after. Um, I was living with friends, and the friend, wonderful friend, but as they say, they say like you have the same amount of money as like the five closest people, you weigh kind of like your five closest friends. And so my friend is much heavier, and she was doing the shopping during COVID. Or actually, we were getting food delivered, and she was very generous. There's three of us living together. She's very generous. There was tons of food, right? Again, whole other diet than me. And I, living with someone who has a different diet, I was eating a lot of frozen food. Okay, a lot of prepared dinners. I started eating a little bit of ice cream, which I don't typically eat. I like ice cream, okay, but it's going to sound funny, but the coldness I don't like. Like I'd rather have a brownie, right? Give me a thumbs up if you're like that. I'd rather have a cookie or a brownie versus some that cold. So I started having some ice cream because I was living with them. I started eating more frozen meals instead of fresh cooked. Um, and just probably eating more. And I was much less active during COVID because we were on lockdown. We took lockdown seriously. Since I already work from home, y'all, I didn't walk where I moved during the lockdown. It was very hard to walk. So I gained that much weight because, yeah, I wasn't walking. My diet changed, and I was probably sad and, depressed. So again, what I did to lose weight fairly easily was I just cut out cheese. I just cut that out. And this is more recently, once obviously I moved away. Well, not obviously, I moved away from that household. I had more control of my food, more fresh food, more vegetables, no frozen foods. I don't buy, the only prepared foods I'll buy maybe once or twice a month. Actually, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 times a month are made at the health food store. So they're never frozen. They're like made fresh, like the day before or whatever, right? So fresh food. I cut out cheese completely. All dairy had already been out of my diet. And the other thing that I did was start walking. And I've always been a walker. I choose, because I'm not working to get a car, I choose to not own a car at this point in time. And so partly to force myself to walk, okay? Because I know, even though my grocery store is fairly close, if I had the car, I'd take the car. This is the American way. I take the car to the grocery store. So if I don't have a car, I will walk, and I'll walk back with my groceries. So and I walk to the health food store. So I get fresh food. And like our ancestors did, the food wasn't brought to them. The food wasn't, they had to go get the food, raise the food, dig up the food, chop the food. It wasn't just laying there, right? And stuffed in their refrigerator or in their stores. They had stores, but they knew stores, meaning storage, stores of food items, right? But they knew, gosh, this has to take me through a lean season. This has to take me through a winter, or when the hunting, when the animals are not there, or the fish are not here to catch. So I really went back to these basics. So that is how I lost 21 or 22 pounds, and I feel amazing. I will share this, as the channel is primarily for women, and men should hear this anyway, just for their wives, partners, sisters. It's funny because, like, really my tummy would be totally flat except for fibroids. So I still have that, but then I got very good news. Some of you may know I got very good news about my health. Remember, I was worried because there was some stuff going on that the doctors were worried about. I just got a clean bill of health. And in part, also, the one other thing I added, not to lose weight, but for my health, was I was taking like prescribed Chinese herbs from a herbalist doctor who was Chinese. So like, and who's been doing this for, I want to say 35 or 40 years. So that was in terms of the health stuff. But I definitely know that losing weight, it definitely helps with things like estrogen, excess estrogen, and things that kind of mess up our, it helps also our hormones to be more balanced overall. So exercise by walking, very simple. I didn't buy, I got a pair of sneakers instead of just cute sandals, right? It's free, it's low cost. Even if you're low income, you can walk. If you're able-bodied, if you're not disabled, and if you're disabled where maybe you could literally roll your wheelchair. I don't know. There are ways to, you can still maybe exercise if you were wheelchair bound or something like that. So again, I just started walking pretty much every day. I'm not going to lie and say I walk every single day, but what I did do, as I'm remembering it now, what I did do was, it was either a walking day or like a yoga day, and I would do like a vigorous yoga. Now, yoga is not aerobic typically, so don't think like, oh, well, yoga's not going to help, but yoga tones. It brings blood flow into the muscles. It flushes out the system. So it's a good part of your detox, goddess. So do not like look down at yoga as like, well, it's not like running, because there's a lot of talk out there about, especially for us women, and especially if you get more towards middle age or prime of life, as I like to call it, too much aerobics can stress your body. Many of us are under a lot of stress anyway. And so just balancing running or biking, yoga can be a beautiful balance. It brings the mind-body connection. It helps make you aware, goddess, of, am I eating too much, right? When I do yoga and I sit to eat, I'm more present with the food, right? I notice the taste. I'm not just gobbling it down. I also tend to eat less junk food when I'm on that healthy, I'm doing the other things that support my health. So I just want to put, hey, I want to put a comment up. Yeah, chair yoga, exactly. You can do stuff. There's so much you can do. I really feel like there's no excuse with YouTube. If you are able to watch me, you can find a video where somebody's sitting there just with their little weights, going like this. Maybe like 90, seriously. Or someone who, there's probably some fitness person who is in a wheelchair. I've never looked, but I'm sure there are like, fitness influencers who have like, I don't know, Lou Gehrig's or muscular dystrophy or something, and they're like showing movements you can do. So yeah, those tips will work. I think if you gained weight, but you were normally slim to average. As I said, I think they'd still help if you've always been more overweight, but it did feel like it was fairly effortless. I'm not going to lie. I mean, walking, not that the walking is effortless, but I feel great when I walk, right? After I walk, or always walk in nature if you can. Don't go, I see people like running like by a busy street at the middle of the day. Okay, that's not healthy. That's not balanced. This channel is primarily for women. It is about holistic health, wellness, and woo-woo. So always about balance and common sense. You see people running, it's 95 degrees and they're running and it's the middle of the day. These two things together will give you a heart attack. Don't run at the hottest time of day. on a hot day. So as I said, for me, if the day was too hot outside, I would do yoga. I would turn the air on low because you don't want to be really chilled if you're doing yoga. And then I would just do some yoga inside. Or I do African dance, right? There's hip hop dance. There's so many, there's again, so much on YouTube. There's no excuse. So it's really, I increase my movement. I cut out cheese, the one food group, and I wasn't eating meat anyway, um, very much. And so at this point, my current diet, because I know some of you care, my current diet is it's definitely plant based. I will eat meat maybe twice a month. Like literally, I don't buy meat, like never. I don't buy any meat. I've never, honestly, let me know in the comments or in the live chat here. I've just never liked touching raw meat. That is absolutely something I've never liked. It's not like I learned, like, oh, the animal. That was just natural to me. My mom would be, putting chicken, frying it or seasoning it up. And I always, to be really honest with you, I always found it repulsive. Always. It didn't mean I wouldn't, once it's cooked, I would eat it, but even just touching it always turned me off. So, and I know for many people who love meat, that wouldn't turn them off. So it's just interesting. Makes me think about that. So I now eat meat maybe twice a month. In very specific situations that I won't go into, I'll just have it. And especially if my body's like, yeah, it's okay. It's pretty clean. It's not, I'm not going to Kentucky Fried Chicken, which their chicken is very good. That's why I mention it. But filled with so much crap that yes. So literally twice a month. So my money does not go out on meat. I don't buy milk. I do have some dairy because I know you can get vegan yogurt. They don't taste right to me. I think I've had the coconut yogurt. Have any of you, is there a good brand of like a vegan yogurt that you like? So I will maybe once a month have have yogurt. I'll have a vanilla or a plain, and then I'll put my own fruit in it. So yeah, not 100% vegan. I was mentioning it in another video, but the difference, less bloating. The only time I get horrible bloating now and just feel that feeling that's the typical American diet is when I eat like a bad bread, like a fairly low quality bread. There's definitely something with the wheat. Check out a book called Wheat Belly, guys. Wheat Belly, Belly. There's definitely something with our wheat that is not right. It's not, it's just not, whether it's the conditioning agents, like what does that even mean? The conditioning agents, right? If you were making bread at home, there's like 3 ingredients that you'd put in, 3 or 4. Why, what's all this other stuff? So that's how I lost 22 pounds again, it wasn't like super quick. Because also and I do feel like my face fell, right? You remember how Oprah looked after she lost a lot of weight? And I shouldn't compare myself because I did not lose that much weight. It was like 22 pounds. I think she lost, I don't know, when she first lost weight that first time, her face like fell, right? Because all of that plumpness wasn't there. So again, if you're at midlife, 40s, 50s, I would say, and my doctor said this to me, she goes, you don't want to get too thin. And check this out, guys. So here I am, so proud of myself for going close back to my original weight pre-COVID. And then I look at some stupid chart online, and the chart literally, I think for my height, it said less than 142 is too thin. I was like, what? Like I'm right on the cusp, according to this big chart, right? That's trying to amass how many millions of people? It's like if you're less than 142 pounds, and I think at 5'7", you could check this, then you're too thin. I'm like, please, my bones are like I'm long and thin boned, right? So I'm like, no, I think that's fine. So I feel much, much better though. So any of you watching now who have lost weight, especially that you gained like during COVID, what did you do? I'm really curious. If any of you, now all of you may be perfectly fit, or you're perfectly fit and plump and you're like, I'm not trying to lose weight, but what matters for me, as you guys know, is I really care about our overall health and well-being. And so it isn't about aesthetics or judgment. It's and yeah, so exactly. Let me say this. So I know there's skinny people. My dear friend was skinny but had a health problem. So yes, you can be skinny and have health problems, of course, and you can be overweight and have health problems. But the if you were skinny, some of those health problems from being overweight would be gone. Like your heart doesn't have to work as hard. The high blood pressure would probably go down. The heart issues. So yes, you can still be skinny and be in poor health. Absolutely. We all, I'm sure we've all seen someone or know people like that in the family, right? So yeah, I hope that helps.